But we create based on lack. We create based on separation. You see the sports car, you see the wardrobe, you see the scene, you see the vacation, and you see that experience that you want. Your brain naturally goes, "Oh God, that would be so wonderful to be in that reality, to be in that future." Based on the lack of not having it, in the plane of duality and separation, the lack causes us to dream about having it. So the natural thing is to dream of a new possibility based on your understanding that you don't have that experience yet. You understand?
Yes.
So then now that vision of that future, the brain naturally creates. For the passionate person, that vision where they're seeing that future, they put themselves in that future. And when they do that, they feel the emotion of that future. And they're actually doing that by thought alone. So once they feel the feeling of that future, they can believe in that future because they felt it,
Interesting.
right? And they'll tell you there's nobody or no one or no circumstances. I know that I could create that. And you've all done it. Everybody in this room has done something great. And you kept that vision alive in your mind, and you got your behaviors to match your intentions. You got your actions equal to your thoughts. You got your mind and body working together. You stopped thinking certain thoughts like, I can't, it's too hard, I don't feel like it, I'll never change. You had to make different choices. And the hardest part about change is not making the same choices the day before. And that means you're going to get uncomfortable. You stop doing the same things, the same habits, sitting on the couch, whatever it was. You didn't have time to complain, that stuff. You start staying away from the experiences with certain people and certain circumstances. You didn't want to live that anymore. And you had to really get beyond your emotional feelings and do it anyway. And we do this all the time. And then you run, and all of a sudden the synchronicities start to happen. Everybody's experienced this. And the next thing you know, the experience occurs, and you feel the emotion from that experience, and it takes away the lack or separation from not having it. So the emotion is the end product of the experience in three-dimensional reality.
Say it again. The emotion is what?
The end product of the experience. It's the payoff. The payoff from the experience, having the experience, is the emotion that is the consequence of the experience. And that emotion is all the sensory information that you're perceiving, everything you're seeing and hearing and smelling and tasting and feeling. All that information is rushing back to your brain, and jungles of neurons are organizing into networks. And when they string into place, another part of the brain called the chemical brain, the limbic brain, the emotional brain, begins to make chemicals to produce that emotion. And that emotion then takes away the lack. And now you say, I created that. And then you go to the next one. Now you can get really good at doing this. You could study, you could get schooled, you can get coached, you can learn from your mistakes, you could get disciplined, and you can accumulate more things. You can get better at doing that. But there is another way to create where you don't have to do so much. And those are laws that transcend just typical Newtonian laws. And what if you were to feel the emotion of the future before it happened every single day? Remember that feeling, and that feeling was for your heart to fall in love with your life, to fall in love with your vision. You'd have to awaken that heart. If you could do that and marry that with the vision of your future, I promise you it'll be easier to make choices to step into that future. I guarantee you'll believe in it and do things to advance yourself into that future, and you step right into it. So then, if it doesn't happen when we want it to happen, you know what I mean? Like, people stop me and they say, well, I've been creating my reality for 3 days, and nothing happened. And I say to them, you're not that good. Look, I don't know what else to tell you. You're not that good. Or they'll say, how come I'm not living in Mallorca with my 2 dogs and my lover? I'm like, because the person who's living in Mallorca looks nothing like you. Like, that's not what the person looks like. So when it doesn't happen, the lack becomes greater.
Uh-huh. And then what do we
And
do?
because lack is separation, and separation is based on time. And so when you imagine that vision of your future, you're putting your attention in a future reality. You have one point of consciousness, that's your future, and you are making the choice from this point of consciousness that that's where you want to go. And the distance between those two is called time. So time is based on lack or separation. Are you with me?
Yes.
And when it doesn't happen, we start to feel more lack and more separation, so we start to force outcomes.
So we try harder.
Try harder, we manipulate, we compete, we fight. Because trying is what you do when you're in lack. And so the person's living in separation their whole entire life, waiting for the event to occur to take away the feeling of not having it. And it could be their whole entire life.
Wow.
And that becomes a program. So then you ask them, why are you this way? Well, because life isn't working for me. That's the belief that they have.
It's unfair.
And they'll have a whole story that goes along with it. So then, if you could fall in love with your future, and the heart produces a very strong magnetic signature, and you get your brain coherent and working really well, that intention that you have has a signal in the field. And we've measured this. And so then if you could begin to experiment by changing your energy, could it change my life? That's the experiment. I'm just curious. If you started doing it, that you could actually shorten the distance between the thought of what you want and the experience of having it. And all of a sudden, you're no longer going anywhere to do it. It's kind of coming to you. Now, if you experiment like that and then you are successful at it and you start seeing the synchronicities, I guarantee you're going to keep it up.
Yes.
I guarantee you it's not going to be like, oh, God, I got to go fall in love with my future now. It's not going to be like that. You're going to be like, whoa, like it's happening, like whatever that is, that I don't know what it is, but you're changing your energy. And so to become a creator in your life and truly practice it, if you're feeling the feeling of your future, you can't look for it. How could you look for it if you feel like it already happened? And we cannot attract anything in our life that we feel separate from. And that means you got to maintain that modified state of mind and body to keep your vision alive. And if you do, the experiment should be, hey, I'm doing this to experiment. Is it the truth? I'm doing it for the truth, to take the belief and actually behave that way to ultimately become the creator of my life. And so that you fall in that zone, you fall into that flow. And now you're gonna want to feel that feeling more than you're gonna want to feel your victimization. And that's when you no longer belong to your past. That's when you belong to your future.